Don't be lazy, because every day you waste lying around, someone else is running toward the life you dream about. Laziness isn't comfort, it's a silent thief. It steals your time, your opportunities, your confidence. And one day, it will steal your future. Laziness feels like a warm blanket. You wrap yourself in it thinking you're safe, but the truth is it slowly suffocates your dreams. It doesn't attack you loudly. It whispers softly. Relax, you can do it tomorrow. You deserve a break. Success can wait. And people listen. They trade their future for temporary comfort. But here's the harsh reality. The future belongs to those who show up today, not tomorrow. Daniel had been living under that blanket for years. He kept telling himself he was taking time to figure things out, when in reality, he was hiding from responsibility. Every morning he'd say, I'll start tomorrow, and every night he'd promise, next week I'll change. But weeks turned into months, and months into years. Then one evening, his old friend Chris came by. Chris wasn't born rich. He wasn't the smartest in school, but he had built a small business, traveled, and was living a life that Daniel once dreamed of. Daniel laughed and said, Man, you're just lucky. Things always work out for you. Chris leaned forward, looked him straight in the eye, and replied, Luck? No, Daniel. It's not luck, it's discipline. While you were sleeping, I was studying. While you were watching shows, I was planning. While you were waiting for tomorrow, I was working today. Those words hit like a punch. For the first time, Daniel realized his problem wasn't the world, wasn't fate, wasn't bad luck. It was laziness. He had been his own greatest enemy. That night, Daniel wrote down a single quote on a piece of paper and stuck it to his wall. Laziness is nothing more than a habit of resting before you get tired. He made a vow. No more wasted time. No more waiting for tomorrow. From that day, he promised himself action, no matter how small. Because at the end of the day, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Daniel was a 23-year-old college dropout. His days were spent scrolling on his phone, telling himself, tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll change. But tomorrow never came. His friends moved on, got jobs, built skills. Daniel stayed stuck. Because laziness had chained him down. The morning after his realization, Daniel woke up earlier than usual. At first, it felt strange. His bed pulled him back. His mind whispered, just 5 more minutes. But he remembered Chris's words echoing in his head. While you were waiting for tomorrow, I was working today. So he pushed himself up. It wasn't easy. His body resisted, but his spirit had been shaken awake. He started small. He wrote down 3 simple tasks. Exercise for 20 minutes, read 10 pages of a book, and apply for 1 job. They weren't huge goals, but they were something. And for the first time in years, he didn't just write them, he did them. At the end of the day, he felt a strange power inside. It wasn't pride, it wasn't relief, it was momentum. Action, he realized, is the true antidote to laziness. The days turned into weeks. At first, the battle was inside his head. Every day, excuses screamed at him. You're tired, it's raining outside, this won't even matter. But Daniel fought back with a new weapon, discipline. He began to tell himself, do it now, not later, not tomorrow, now. That phrase became his shield. And something magical happened. His habits began to change. He was no longer waiting for motivation. He was relying on routine. When he felt lazy, he remembered another powerful line he had read. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Soon, his body grew stronger from daily workouts, his mind sharper from constant reading, and his confidence began to return. People around him noticed. His sister told him, Daniel, you look different, like you're finally alive again. And he was, because discipline was no longer a burden. It was freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from being a prisoner of laziness. Weeks turned into months, and Daniel's small steps began to shape an entirely new version of himself. What started as 20 minutes of daily exercise grew into an hour of consistent training. What began with 10 pages of reading became entire books devoured in a week. His mind was expanding, his body was transforming, and his spirit once crushed under the weight of laziness, was now bursting with energy. One morning, he got a call for a job interview. In the past, Daniel would have panicked, procrastinated, and found excuses not to go. But this time, he was ready. His confidence, sharpened by daily discipline, radiated through his words and body language. The interviewer smiled and said, "You're not the same Daniel I remember reading about on your application. You look like a man on a mission." And for the first time, Daniel believed it too. Soon after, opportunities began flowing his way. His discipline didn't just give him a job. It gave him purpose. He was no longer the man waiting for life to hand him something. He was chasing, building, and creating. People who once dismissed him now sought his advice. Friends who would mock him before now whispered, "How did he do it?" Daniel often replied with the truth. "I stopped waiting for the perfect moment. I realized the perfect moment is the one you create by acting today." His story became a quiet source of inspiration in his community. Younger kids who once saw him wasting away on the couch now saw him running the mornings, books under his arm, energy in his eyes. And Daniel would tell them, discipline is not punishment. It is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. His life was no longer a reflection of laziness. It was a living testimony of change. ChatGPT said. Daniel stood before the mirror one evening, smiling at the man he had become. No longer broken, no longer lazy. He was living proof that change is possible. Looking into his own eyes, he whispered, "Discipline is freedom." And that became his mantra to everyone he met. He reminded them, laziness steals your future, but discipline builds it. Start small, but start today. His story wasn't about perfection. It was about progress. And as he walked forward into his new life, he carried one truth. Success doesn't come to the strongest or the smartest, but to the most disciplined.